Hi, this is Dan Heisman, Philly tutor for Chess FM. This is the Improve Your Chess video series for ICC members. In today's game, we're going to go over another 45-45 game. So let's get right started. White plays e4, black plays e5, and white plays d4. Usually a sign he's going to play a Goring gambit or a Danish gambit or something like that. So e takes d4. I gave this position to the computer and let it think for a while just to see what it would do without a book. And the computer said it would play knight f3, which would probably transpose into a scotch after knight c6. It would be a mistake after knight f3 for black to play a move like c5, because then he'd get into a bad version of a gambit after c3. He couldn't easily give back the pawn with knight c6 because he would have an isolated d-pawn for nothing. And if he takes and white takes, then all of a sudden we've got all these weak squares with this pawn on c5, which would be more like a Scotch gambit or something with a bad position for black. So black's not going to play c5 after knight f3. But in any case, white just played the very rare line queen takes d4, which is the center opening. Now, when I explain this to my students about this idea of, quote, losing a tempo, I like to compare the center opening with the Scotch. In a Scotch, after knight f3, knight c6, d4, the best way to save this pawn on e5 is simply to trade it off. You can't lose something that you've traded. Knight takes. And now black's best moves are developing moves like bishop to c5 or knight f6, which develop and attack things. For black to play knight takes d4, queen takes d4 is a minor error, and you almost never ever see this variation in grandmaster games, because basically now the white queen is very, very good because there's no knight to attack it and drive it away, and attacking it with the c5 pawn really just weakens d5 and d6 for black. So you never see good players with black play this line and put the queen there. This would be a good example of not developing the queen too early. It's just at the right time. It's perfect when the knight's not there. Now, if we go back and we compare this to the center game, which was played in this game, this looks very, very similar, except the presence of these two knights make all the difference. Now, when black plays knight to c6, which is what happened in the game, white has to move the queen, and white loses an entire tempo, quote, loses a tempo. And that makes all the difference. So it's amazing. You never see knight takes d4 in Scotches, but you never see d4, queen takes d4 in center games. So that difference tells you a lot about when you should bring out pieces and when you shouldn't, and AWL attack things with something worth less. So this is a rare line, and the computer says already black's at least equal here. So white plays queen e3. That's about as good as you can play. And black plays knight f6. And now white should play knight to f3 with approximately an equal game. It doesn't take much to make a difference. And one of the things about today's opening is that white's mistakes are relatively minor, and black takes good advantage of them and quickly builds up a good position. So white plays knight c3. Well, that seems very logical to answer knight f6 with knight c3, overprotecting the e-pawn, but actually it's a little bit of a mistake. It allows bishop to b4, threatening in some lines bishop takes c3 because of the pressure on e4. White plays bishop d2, and black just castles. And now one of white's problems is this rook and the queen are going to line up really fast, and white's going to have to lose more time trying to get out of this. So white castles queenside. He really has nothing better. For instance, let's show you how much trouble he's in if he plays another move. Suppose he plays bishop